Home inspections. There are two essential trains of thoughts when it comes to home inspections. One, they're an utter waste of time. They're a waste of money. The home inspectors don't know what they're talking about, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That typically comes from people who have had bad experiences with home inspectors before, that the home inspector maybe was a novice or was rushed and missed stuff. So therefore, that carries forward in saying, I could have done a better job than a home inspector, and I wasted my money. And other people will say, well, a home inspector is a waste of time, waste of money, because if in fact they miss something, they're not on the hook, because the best you'll ever get from a home inspector is to actually get your money back. There's no guarantee that if they've missed something, that they'll take responsibility. In fact, it's highly unlikely. However, the other school of thought is home inspectors are there for a reason. They'll obviously point out things that you and I can see, maybe the trim's a little bit this or that, the caulking around the windows may need to be replaced, the roof, the shingles are starting to go a little bit, but they get into areas that you and I wouldn't typically get into. They check the attics, for example. I've seen scenarios where attics, in fact, there was one particular situation where the home was completely and utterly renovated. A new roof was put on, new soffits, fascia, all that stuff, eaves troughing, and it looked so nice. The eye candy was there on every level, and on the surface, everything looked perfect. However, what ended up happening at the very last minute before putting in the offer, my client said, you know what, I think I will go with a home inspection because I offered. Do you want a home inspection or not in this case? They said, yep, finally they're going to put one in. Now here's an interesting thing. The home inspector couldn't find one flaw in the whole home until he went to the attic. I have photos still on my computer to this day, and this was many, many years ago, and the entire attic, the boards for the roof in the attic were completely strewn, if you will, covered, better word, with mold. The whole thing. Now what had happened? Because they had no idea it was there. They weren't suffering from anything, but the mold had just taken root and taken hold and grew like crazy after the roof was put on. What the roofers did is they blocked the ventilation, the airflow into the actual attic. So that being said, it couldn't breathe. And when it couldn't breathe and have fresh air in there, it started to get moist and dark and all that kind of stuff. And obviously over time, the mold came. So had they not done that, they would have been in for a big issue. So we ended up having the homeowner redo the person still went with the home because it matched everything they're looking for. But they had a mold remediation expert come in, they took everything out, put new insulation in, scoured the place down, et cetera, but at the owner's expense. Because if in fact the owner didn't know about it, you chose not, for example, to put a home inspection condition into an offer, you can't go back on them because it wasn't something that they knew about. It wasn't something that they hid. So home inspection is very important. Now that's an extreme situation, but what they'll also do, if you, for example, had appliances included in the offer, they're going to go and make sure that each of the appliance works as it should. They check the temperature, for example, of the fridge. They will check that each element and burners work for the stove. They'll actually run the dishwasher and the washing machine and also the dryer because they're inspecting all of that stuff. They inspect things, for example, like how the grade actually goes towards or away from the house for natural drainage. They check to see, and they listen all the time when they're in there, is the sump pump working? Because the sump pump is a thing that extracts, or first of all, it collects all of the water around the foundation of the home. So therefore, if there's a lot of water around the foundation that's not being extracted away from the foundation, you have a high probability of a basement that'll be leaky or damp or moist, things like that. So home inspectors are looking for these things. Every outlet, for example, that they see, they'll put in their tester to make sure that the polarity is correct. So they do a fair amount of things, especially if you're a novice or you're not a contractor, not well educated. A home inspection is a good thing to have. I hope that information was useful, and thanks for watching.